Hello guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. If you are new to the channel, please like and subscribe. All right, so we'll go over the trades I took for last week. So I took quite a number of trades last week, and I have them on my watch list here. So Euro NZD, Euro AUD, AUD CHF, USD JPY, GBP JPY, Nasdaq, Euro GBP, CAD JPY, GBP AUD, NZD CHF, and then GBP NZD. So that's quite a lot of pairs, right? But we are going to group them. So there is a group of pairs that I took together. So on Tuesday there was a NZD news, NZD interest rates. So I traded the news, and that was a really bad start of the week for me. So NZD CHF. So with the NZD pairs, I was looking at a week NZD, like I was so confused with what was happening on the chart. I finally decided to go for a week NZD. So here on NZD CHF, I was seeing this pattern, but somehow, I decided to go with a week NZD. So I took a sell here. And the market just pushed up. So my stop was around here. This was NZD CHF was around 35 pips. Same for GN. I bought GN around here, and then it dropped. And GN was around GN was about 70 pips. 70 pips loss on GN. And then the same for GA, because they kind of moved together. So I hit my stop on GA. GA was 40 pips, minus 40 pips. And then EA. So with EA, I bought EA and I went into profit, and I was able to break even. So you can see like the how do you call it? The AUD pairs did not drop. So I bought EA here. Stayed in the zone a little bit, but we pushed into profit. So EA, but I broke. I think there was a pullback here to take me out around here. So it was EA. Let me check my trades. So I took profits just around 24 pips on EA. So the GBP AUD, GBP NZD, GBP CHF, Euro NZD. So this is 40, 35, that's 75, 70, 140. Euro NZD. I'm not sure of the number of pips, but it was below 50 pips. So that puts me around minus about 100, minus 200 pips. And then I made 10 pips on Euro NZD. So that's around 100 minus 190 pips. So it was like quite a horrible week. Right? So that was the news I traded. So don't trade the news. The news I was trading. So I was not so sure of the buyers, but I wanted to take advantage. So I decided to risk something small on that, which did not turn out to be good. So don't be me, right? So the next trade I took was AUD CHF. So this was a very short scalp on AUD CHF. I caught this sell down here, but I didn't catch the push to the I didn't catch the push to the upside here. So here, this was a retest of this liquidity zone here. That was around 42 pips. And the next trade I took was UJ. UJ was quite a stubborn one. So this was the idea initially. So we see price breaking this level here, price breaking retest. So this is where I decided to sell initially. So almost most of these trades, not all of them, were posted in the Telegram channel. So you can check them, and when I posted them in the comments, I gave under the trades. So this one, I wanted to take this sell here, and you see it pushed up. My stop was just above the wick, so I hit my stop again. But then when price went to the top, I realized it was creating another zone around here, hidden resistance. So this was just a break and retest trade, simple support and resistance that I was looking at. So I took this sell from here, but my take profit was way lower. So I think this move happened in the night, Wednesday night. Was it Wednesday? I'm not sure. So it went into a lot of profit and then pushed back up, back to entry. So when it dropped the second time, I exited the trade. So I took first loss here. It was about 22 pips. And then I caught the second one. So my entry was around here. And I got out around here. That was about 60 pips on UJ. So last week was quite rough. Was quite rough. And the next trade I took was GJ. So GJ, this is what I was looking at on GJ. So it was based on a couple of other factors, but the final conclusion I made on this was I was looking at, I don't trade patterns, but I I decided to go with this trade. So I connected these levels like this. And sorry. And I was looking at price break pushing down to test this level here, also testing the low before we push up. But then, as you can see, a lot of consolidation. So my stop was around here. Because of the way it was consolidating, I closed in a little loss. Right. So next week, this is one of the trades I'll be looking at, depending on what Euro GBP and then the other JPY pairs are doing. It will give us a really clear picture. All right. Because even though there is a more bullish momentum here, the price has still not really exited this ranging structure here. So we need more data to come in to give a final conclusion on what we are looking at on GJ. And the next trade was Euro GBP. So Euro GBP, when price pushed up here, I was waiting to take a buy here, but this was a big move, but I didn't take this sell. I posted this trade on my IG, but I didn't take the sell because I was waiting to take the buy here. But unfortunately, we went into a little profit. I was lucky enough to take partial profit, and price consolidated all the way back into this zone. So this is one trade that I'll also be looking out for going into the week. So if price stays within this zone and it start breaking some structures here, I would look to go back in and I'll take my profits up here. So I'm looking about, if I get in around here or something, that's about 86 pips. So I'll be looking out for this trade, but if you decide to buy anywhere around here, your stop should be below this level here. So this was just a slight profit and consolidated back into the zone. So this is one of the things I'll be looking out for before I decide to make a decision on GBP, JPY. Because if this breaks the zone and start pushing down, then we would expect GBP, JPY to push up like the other GBP pairs. And this will be the next zone that we'll be looking at if we drop to the downside. So keep an eye on that as well for potential for price to drop to that level. And when that happens, we'll be looking to buy GBP, JPY. If the JPY is continue to be weak going into next week. And this is the last trade I took, the last currency trade I took, which was, I'm still in this trade. So this trade, the reason behind this trade was all the JPY pairs were pushing up, and this was the only one that had not pushed up. So I came in, I was like, okay, even though, so oil was also strong, so which favors the Canadian dollar. So then I came and then I was looking at a reason to buy, right? So you need to have like a theory or a basis why you are buying, and then you come to the chart and then find an entry. So that was basically what I was looking at. So here in the charts, I finally concluded that this was an uptrending market, at least at this side that we were. So we have a high there, a low there. We have a low here and a high and a low and a high. So this was the last high here. So when price came to retest here, I took the buy and I'm still in the trade. I left the trade over the weekend and I'll be looking to get out here. This is my take profit is. I'm currently about, this is roughly 7 divided by 3. So that's roughly 21 pips. So where is 21 pips? All right, so I got in around the break of this candle here, and I'm looking at this level here. So that's a short trade, about 52 pips. So those are the currency pairs I took this week, like I mean the previous week, but you see they were really rough, like really, really rough. The only savior for the week was NAS 100. So this was a trade I took right before the FOMC. And the idea behind this trade was we had a reversal pattern here. And we have price kind of testing this level here. This broker looks a little different. Let me see. This broker looks a little. All right, so this is the actual markup I did. So this is where I got in. So before the FOMC meeting, there was this level I spotted here. So price came in and then pushed up. So this is what saved the week. So the projected target for this trade was 700 points, which is about 7,000 pips. But this is why I got out. I got out after the first push, 570 points. That's like 5,700. So this was the savior for the week. Aside that, all the other currency pairs, apart from CAD JPY, which I'm currently in, and AUD CHF, that gave me a little profit. But I also made some profit on UJ. The other currency pairs I did were either in loss or break even. But you know, I managed to come out of the week positive, and that's the important thing. So these are the pairs I took for this week. And one thing I will do different going into next week is to not trade, like trading, whether you are deciding to trade a news or not, it depends on what you are seeing. But with me, I knew clearly that I was two-sided. Like I was not so sure based on the technicals I was seeing. I'm not a fundamental trader, so I look at the data when the data is released to form my bias. So currently we have a strong New Zealand according to the data that was released. I'm going to use that to guide my trades until we get any new data coming in. I'll treat New Zealand as strong. And if I'm going into the pair, that's the first thing I'll look at until we get any new data from Australia or another data from New Zealand. But in terms of trading before the news is released, I only trade it when the technicals are in line with what I'm seeing. With this particular trade, it was two-sided. Like I could see the market going either ways, and I more or less like gambled to go with like one side of it, which is one thing I'm not going to do the next time. So I've learned from it. I hope so. Yeah. So in general, we came out positive, but we could have made a little more if I stayed away from the ones that hit my stop loss. NZD, CHF, GBP, NCD, Euro, NCD, Euro, AUD was breaking around 10 pips. So yeah. So that is the review of my trades for the week. I hope you learned something. If you did, drop a comment. If you want me to review any other thing apart from my weekly trades, drop a comment, and then don't forget to like and subscribe. See you in the next video.